Hi, I'm Robert and welcome to part 1 of my photo build of Revell's 144th Saturn V rocket. Here we are with a Revell's 1 to 144 scale Apollo Saturn V rocket, the moon rocket. It's reference number 04909, and as you can see comes in a standard Revell size box from most kits, and box art is of course the Saturn V taking off with all stages, and of course the moon in the background. On the side of the box you can get a bit of an idea for the internals. The great thing with this is not only can it be set up as the full length Saturn V, but you can take the parts, the stages off. So you can take off the first stage, second stage, reveal the lunar module, and basically give people a bit of a lesson as to how it would take off and come right back down to the little capsule that the three guys would be sat in, that little small bit that would return to Earth. Of course, one of the things is the internals. Here you can see that all the internal bulkheads and fuel tanks have got green colour. Some of them old instructions for the previous boxing of this kit actually show it as aluminium, and looking online some of those actually show them as a yellowy buff colour. Researching it a little bit more, it appears that all the Saturn V rockets for the different Apollo missions seem to vary. I'm probably going to be doing this as the traditional Apollo 11, the first moon landing, and therefore I need to research for sure what colour the internals are going to be. But it does appear there's no right or wrong as a standard, so I need to do a bit more researching on that. With the instructions, standard Revell A4 booklet instructions, and open out. I mean, to be honest, it's quite a simple kit. There's not too many parts together, and it's obviously tubes that go together. There's a few little connections that need to go on so that you can hook it and unhook it, those stages together when you're taking it to pieces to show people. Alternatively, you can't just glue the whole thing together, covering any seams or cracks, so that would be a much more realistic looking Saturn V. Decals, standard sheet, not too much decals on there. It is good to see that these are in red. Apparently the previous boxing of the Revell kit had the USA and the United States in black, which is wrong. It's meant to be in the red colour. So let's look at what's in the box. To be honest, it's lots of tubes that go together, and I got a few connection parts. Obviously you can do the lunar module, make the rocket nozzles, those sort of things, and of course you also get a base for it as well. The actual mouldings, the plastic, the white plastic is quite, you got to drop it, as Phil says, it makes quite a sharp sound. The silver sprue is a little softer, but to be honest I'm not too, there's going to have to be a bit of scratch building. It's a very simple kit. I know it's going to be a basic tube with not too much on, but when it actually comes to detail, the parts where there are detail, for example the engine nozzles, those sort of things, that is there's not too much detail going on there. When I first thing I actually done, just to get an idea of size, I know it says about the sizing for it, but just with a bit of household masking tape, nothing fancy, just because it is so simple, just out of curiosity, I just put the main parts together just to see how big it would actually stand. And 0.8 of a metre is actually quite a length there, especially when it's sat on its base. Don't ever want to use the base, to be honest. It's quite a horrible sort of plasticky base. Plus as well, once sat on the base you're not going to be able to see the engine nozzles, which is fine I guess, if they're not very detailed. However, I'm thinking to have it sort of a bit more raised up, maybe have some acrylic rods so you can get underneath it, maybe slightly angled over. Need to work on the centre of gravity, but maybe angled over for a little bit so you can actually see a bit more, do a bit of scratch building, a bit more detailing of the engines, but actually be able to slide it off the rods and still separate the stages. Not confirmed on that one, but that's what I'm thinking of doing. If you actually look at, just sort of looking at it, you can see just piecing things together that there's not that much detail on there. Also, when you look at the nozzles, I think next to the nozzle there's a little some sort of compressor or something, propels the fuel in there, pumps, and that should actually have space between, but it's all just been moulded in one. So I'm going to have to go through and cut those out to separate them. And to be honest, the main thing is I've started on getting with putting it together, and it's really just going to be, this model doesn't come down to sticking it together, it comes down to seam lines. Quite a lot of filling going on, sanding and filling and sanding and filling. So that's a bit of an update for what we're going. Next stage is to get it primed, check those seams. No doubt there'll be a bit more filling and a bit more sanding and a bit more filling, but then get it all primed up to make it more solid. Going to be primed up in black, and then start trying to work on scratch building some of those engines. Hope you enjoy the update so far, and yeah, make any comments, give any comments, any thoughts on this, and let's see how this build progresses.